is creativity? Do you think of southeastern Wisconsin as a creative place? On this special edition of Arts Digest, we look at how many in our region are going about the business of harnessing our creativity.
We have many distinguished and highly nationally reputed creative assets here. We're one of the few communities our size in the country that actually can sustain a symphony, an opera, a ballet, and a theater company, much less a first-class children's theater company and an organization like the Skylight.
I actually think that phrase, "a rising tide lifts all boats," is absolutely true when it comes to creativity. People are now seeing the value of the creative sector beyond just entertainment. What are the value of the jobs that we bring to a city? What are the value of the tourism dollars we bring to a city? The dollars that people bring when they come here and park and eat and then go to see a show. What is the value to businesses that are looking to bring their employees into a vibrant creative center? I just think we have to be less humble about, touting what our strengths are, and we have to demonstrate them, and we do demonstrate them. I can't tell you how many people already tell me that they enjoy coming to Milwaukee and the reasons why, and it's because we're different than Chicago, not because we're the same as Chicago. I think it's time to bring some attention back on what unites us as a community and what is the real value that we have on our doorstep.
I've worked on just under 40 bars and restaurants in this Milwaukee area. And I can go from place to place, and we're drawing people to go out. And they hop from place to place to place, and they go out there, they're spending money, they're creating experiences, and they're realizing that Milwaukee isn't just about the sports, isn't just about the festival, that this city's got really cool culture, it's got visually dynamic spaces to go and enjoy, and tons of variety of foods and services and products and things that they can acquire when they're here.
Milwaukee's a cool place. My wife and I love living here. It's got some edge. The richness of the region is not to be overlooked. I actually never knew, for example, that there was such a big arts community here. I didn't know about Summerfest, 1 million people, big music city. I didn't know about the Calatrava and all the things that are going on down there and the theater that goes on here. It's a really rich environment. So I don't feel, as a guy who spent most of his life on the East Coast, who went to design school in New England, I don't feel like I'm boxed in at all. I kind of like there's diversity here, and like I said, there's some edge.
We have edge, but do our creative assets give our region an economic edge? That's the edge we really need, and what the Greater Milwaukee Committee and the Cultural Alliance of Greater Milwaukee wanted to know. So they commissioned a study. But how do you measure creativity?
It's not about the creative process. It's not about everybody being able to be creative. It's about producing products or services that originate from some sort of creative or aesthetic impulse. You asked what were the most significant findings? 66,707 workers. That represents $2 billion in wages, 4,100 businesses, and 4.2% of all of the regional jobs are in the creative industries, which is proportionately higher than the state of Wisconsin and the whole of the US. So not only are our numbers significant, but the proportion of our workforce is significant enough to say, there's something here, there's something that's worth putting some energy and effort into developing. Every community has about 85% of all the same assets, but there's about 15% that is unique to each community. For example, when they did this work in New York City, fashion design, huge in New York City. When they did this work in Louisiana, culinary, huge in Louisiana. When they did it here, they found product design, particularly linked to our manufacturing heritage.
Many corporations get it, and they're global corporations, so they get it. So a part of this is to pull more and more of those corporations together that have basically embedded creative workers in their midst and talk about how do we grow that.
I think if you look at Kohler Company's influence on the plumbing industry in particular, it's been profound. And Kohler's focus on leading design and then creative brand communications and inspiring consumers has taken this industry and turned it from a commodity industry into a fashion industry, a design-driven industry. Anything can be differentiated and reinvented as long as the right creative minds are applied to it. I hope that everybody in our company is creative. Maybe not the accountants, but virtually everyone else. I think, that speaks to a cultural difference. We would not be where we are as a company without the appreciation for the arts and how that's driven into the creative process and our focus on design, leadership, and innovation. It's authentically who we are, it's how we started, it's what we believe in, and it's also core to our business philosophy. We've seen a significant return as a company in our business success over the years, our level of differentiation from the competition, the strength of our brand and its awareness and what it means to consumers as a company who leads in design, believes in the arts and supports the arts. That has been priceless, and it has paid big dividends over the years.
Without art, design isn't anything, because it's really about the emotion that you try to get when you're creating a new product or creating an interface. It's really about that emotion and connecting to a human part, and that's, to me, what art is. So,
what we do here is to take technology and put it into a form that people can use. We can't forget that as high-tech as this stuff is, human beings have to use it. So we use the way we think as designers, and certainly in collaboration with our colleagues in the other disciplines, to try to bring these richer user human experiences into the product design. What we want to do is differentiate GE Healthcare products in market by having really terrific end-to-end experiences, human experiences.
I graduated from the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design in 2002 with a BFA in industrial design. What kept me here in the Milwaukee area is really GE, to be perfectly honest. It was my dream job coming out of school. I wanted to do something, create products that really made a difference. That really excited me. And plus, I get to work with brilliant people every day, from the engineers to the scientists that we have in our global research centers. They're such a vast amount of knowledge there that I love to interact with.
We actually have a pretty large global team in 5 countries around the world. Our largest team is here in the U.S. in Waukesha. We're not all just industrial designers of products. We also have people on our team who have MBAs, who have social anthropology degrees, cognitive psychology. They do human factors engineering, ergonomics kinds of things. The profession is really changing. We're practicing in the context of business now. We understand that you can't only compete on price anymore.
One reason companies like these are here is because of a huge creative resource that's also here: talent.
We have one of the best education systems in the country here, with MIAD and MATC and UWM and Gateway and Parkside and Whitewater. There's such tremendous development of the curriculum and focus on creative technologies that also feeds into talent, hopefully keeps talent here, and then feeds into workforce development as well.
So when we think about who we want to hire and are they prepared for practice, have the schools prepared them for practice, first of all, they have to show up as business people in the context of their discipline. We don't work in an island. We work very cross-functionally. We work with all kinds of disciplines. There's 7, 8, 9 disciplines in the company with whom we work.
We just began to discover, I think higher ed in general, that interdisciplinary teaching and learning is really the way to go for the future. Those silos aren't going to work for the future, whether it's for education or for jobs or for just the world itself.
Because we have a case where technology is changing so quickly that there's no really way to prepare students today for the technologies that are going to be out there. So the best way to prepare them is to give them problems where they work in multidisciplinary teams, which is really going to be what they're going to be doing in the future.
We're starting our Design Research Institute to promote creative research and interdisciplinary research on campus and in the area. So I think, we've been talking with engineering, and they'll be a partner in this. Architecture. I mean, really, it's almost every school and college and the university.
Within the Institute for Industrial Innovation, the courses we teach are not structured similar to a typical class that we would have on campus. It's very open-ended. The students spend a lot of time outside of class working together in the team, to create the products and processes. So it's not like we give them an assignment out of a book and they solve it. We give them a very open-ended problem, and the design space of solutions is huge. And what we teach them is how they navigate all the potential solutions to come up with an innovative new product.
Right, and that's the design thinking that we're promoting with the Design Research Institute, that design methodology of looking at a problem in a different way, so that you might have 10 right answers and then take those right answers and find the very best one from that. And so I think that's an important part. And then we're also in talks about a jobs incubator at UW-M. We've been working with the Sprinkler Group, and they've been volunteering with some of our students with internships, and now they're very interested in promoting this jobs incubator and bringing engineering and the arts together there too.
I saw an opportunity to create something that would bring in our emerging creative talent, get them engaged with industry in the region, show our business leaders that we do have the talent they need here, and show our young, energetic students that they have opportunities to launch and grow their career here. So we started a couple of years ago as an agency that was really looking to take on talent development and training around graphic design and web design and development. So I would go into classrooms and say, how many people are graduating this year? Raise your hand. And almost the whole class would raise their hand. How many people plan to work in Milwaukee when they graduate? Maybe one or two. And these were classrooms full of copywriters, designers, programmers, and they really didn't see opportunity here. So we've got to have, people in classrooms. We've got to have organizations like Sprinkler, where we're actually bringing groups of the people we want to keep here together to work on real projects with real companies. So now you're integrating the whole process of the senior leadership that we have and our emerging youth, where our original focus was how do we train high school students and college students to get jobs in design or technology. Now we say, okay, we can do that, but let's also show them and teach them how to start their own businesses in design and technology.
We have a third of our 1,000 students in the Department of Art and Design who want to be in design in some way. And they're looking at it in a different way. And so we need to educate students for the future. We can still do the other part of that, but I think that part of this too is opening up the door to business to understand how arts can play a role in this to actually make their businesses better too.
I have art. It's in my heart, it's in my head, I'm passionately driven to it. So if I learn how to use these materials and process and I create something, it becomes a product. And that product has become a business. What our design company is it's that generation of blue-collar work ethic, the old craftsman, and the artist designer merging for a career. There was a missing niche in the creative industries for us. There are the architects and there are the builders. There are the construction workers. There are what I call the weekend warrior hobby person. What's happening is they're not communicating, they're not connecting necessarily as well. Or if they do, there's often too much markup in between the jump and projects get killed. So what we were doing was focusing on design, but focusing on design with products we knew we could acquire cost effectively. And in doing that, we would draw and design stuff for our clients already knowing we could build it and design it to fit within their budget. So when we showed them something, we were not wasting their time. And by that happening, it grew from project to project to project. This is a gate project where, again, somebody came to us and was like, well, what did they do at Flux? They needed to find somebody that was the traditional clay carver. So we're all artists. So we took and we actually carved off photo references a clay piece right here, double-sided, all hard clays, formed it in. If you go down to the Hilton right now, you'll have a brand new, one-of-a-kind, custom, traditional style handcrafted piece of art that will look like it's been there for 150 years. If you would have asked me if I'd have been doing what I'm doing today 10 years ago, I would never have thought it possible. Wouldn't even have crossed my mind. But I've learned in the last 10 years that the diversity of the people that we have to work with and the openness to what I thought was really closed off and, you know, I want to say very sterile or opinionated is not as much as what people think it is. I know that at some point when I was in college, I kept talking about how I wanted to get my degree, go to California and sculpt and do set design and special effects and save money and live the lifestyle, and it's California and save some money and then do this and then do something else and save some money, and then someday I'll come back and have an art studio in the Midwest here and I'll create art for the rest of my life. And by the time my senior year came, I went, wait a minute, what have I just been saying? I need to go somewhere else to create a life, to save money, to come right back to what I want to do already. Well, why don't I just stay here and do it?
Jeremy started in the 3rd Ward. You won't find a better example of how creativity transforms and fuels economic impact.
Basically, this was an area that was, abandoned. It had empty warehouses, not many people living down here or working here. That's when the artists started moving in and they found they could get cheap rent. The Broadway Theater Center opened up. They moved here in like 92. Maya opened up in 92. And after those two, they were like catalysts for this neighborhood. There were 25 retailers down here in 1993, and we now have over 165. We probably have 26, 27 galleries down here. And we now have about 2,000 people living down here. Back in 1993, the property values were assessed at $40 million. That's what the 3rd Ward was assessed at. Right now, we're at $500 million. So we've really come a long way. But, thank goodness for these property owners, because, you had to take a vote on, do you want to become a bid or not? And it was great that all the property owners down here did say, yes, we want to do this. A business improvement district it's all the property owners, commercial property owners, self-tax themselves. So every year they get a property tax bill, and it also says special assessment. That money goes to fund the bid. So we can do programming, events, and manage the district. So they should really be proud of themselves for actually doing this, because we're bid number 2, we're the oldest bid in the city, and probably one of the most successful in the country, because not many bids own parking structures. They don't own public markets or riverwalks, and 286 streetlights. But yes, we're very proud of ourselves, and the property owners should be proud of themselves also.
Connecting together. It certainly worked for the businesses and residents of the 3rd Ward. But can the concept of connecting work between nonprofit and for-profit entities?
One of the real opportunities of this study is for the nonprofits connecting to the for-profits, finding new audiences, finding new product development, being willing to take more risks, finding more creative connections amongst each other. So there's an opportunity, frankly, for the nonprofits to see themselves in a different light, find new collaborations and find new connections.
Harmony Initiative involves, at this point in time, a deep collaboration between Milwaukee Ballet and Ballet School, the Medical College of Wisconsin's Sports Medicine program, and the University of Wisconsin's Peck School of the Arts. And there will be, we believe, a 4th element, which will be what we're generally calling the Arts and Wellness Extension, as a way for the community to come in and engage in these programs.
One option was to simply say, we're going to build a new building, and we'll get as much money as we can together, and we'll put this nice little but better clinic for the dancers. Or you could look at it another way and say, listen, if we have the community involved, if we open up this facility to the community, then it would make sense for the medical college then to put more money down and say, not only will we have a group of therapists that take care of the dancers, but also the general population. That then opens up opportunities for different types of programs, where we would not only have sports medicine specialists, primary care physicians with physical therapy and appropriate diagnostic testing, executive physicals, all those things, promoting wellness through movement, through a healthy lifestyle.
When we were considering putting the Harmony Initiative together, we certainly identified this physical need for space. We identified the need to look at a new operating model and to form stronger partnerships, et cetera. But we also believed all along that a partnership with Milwaukee Ballet, the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee's Peck School of the Arts, the Medical College can serve as an economic catalyst for Milwaukee. And then we have to be able to demonstrate to the community, how are you going to sustain this and create a model that is far more sustainable than anything that we could try to do as a single nonprofit on our own. All of our students that come through our doors every single day, the people who interact with the ballet every single day, the people who are going to interact with the Peck Schools program every single day. You now bring in the medical college and the foot traffic that comes from that. You now have a pretty compelling argument for the type of concentration of economic activity that's going to happen wherever we decide to site this particular program. And that is of tremendous interest to the city of Milwaukee and to developers who are looking to try to move certain elements forward in the city of Milwaukee.
And I think we have a very special opportunity here. We do have the right programs, we have the right individuals, we have the right organizations to make this happen.
It speaks volumes about the entities that are engaged, and it's something that we want to pay close attention to. Milwaukee has always been a blue-collar capital, I would say, but now we have to come up with different markets, different entities that will drive the city. Creativity is one of them. Arts is an element of it, to expand and grow and ensure stability long-term for the future and well-being of the city.
You know, there's a lot of money being invested in what I would call Gazelle venture capital. Those businesses that everybody sees, okay, put a few million in and they're going to be 10 million a few years from now. There's a gap in putting in 20,000 for 6 computers and some software, or 50,000 or 100,000 to start a flux design, and then give them the opportunity and the skill set to grow that business. That piece of it is missing, and we've built that into some of our plan going forward too. How can we support those individuals and those businesses having the skill set to move it forward? So we are indeed having those conversations about where government can be supportive in its policies and where potentially a little bit of funding could go a very long way.
I think there's more room and there's growth for creative sectors here in the city. We can always go after those companies, be it small or large, that can add jobs, that understand creativity. And we can play a role to make that happen as well.
We also need the state to be involved. I think as we redo the Commerce Department, it's very important for them to be involved. You know, when I was in Pennsylvania, the areas that the state invested in, you know, were computer engineering, biotechnology, and robotics, and those were areas where the research at the universities were strong and there was companies involved, and by investing state resources into these initiatives really helped, again, jumpstart the activity, and nothing but great things have happened. So.
So what can happen if we harness our creativity?
Our vision is to be the creative hub of the Midwest and one of the top 5 in the nation.
We're very interested in the arts and the quality of life in Milwaukee and the region, but we're also interested in the economic vitality, and we believe the two go hand in hand. You really need to have data to know if you've got something. So the ability to go through and drill down what's here and what it looks like was significant. It was a real milestone in terms of what we see as future economic development. This gives us the opportunity to even identify more the importance of that innovative workforce, the creativity here, and start to bring those important parts of that cluster together. The educational institutions, the arts groups, the for-profit groups. What we are looking for out of that is actual growth. And I think it comes down to talent. The more we can connect the talent, grow our own talent in the region and the talent coming from the region with the employers and the creative enterprises here, more businesses are going to want to locate here. Businesses are going to want to expand here. That's really the super secret of it all.
It's not a secret any longer. Southeastern Wisconsin, the creative hub of the Midwest.
There's a lot of great things happening here, and there are a lot of tremendous resources.
The richness of the region is not to be overlooked.
There's a real good connection between the arts and our communities.
Let's all have a bigger dream. Let's have a bigger goal that we're pursuing.
We could make this area the same kind of place that Silicon Valley was to computers.
Creativity and an innovative workforce is one of our big market advantages.
I do believe that we can become the Midwest hub of creativity.
If you're looking for creative services, you come here.
Interested in learning more? The people we interviewed for this program had a lot more to say than we could include in the show. Watch the full interviews at artsdigest.tv.